got a friend, and I'm not gonna say his name because he will kill me, who has an entire wall of vinyl. Something like 500 records is a beautiful collection. But it doesn't have a turntable, it never has, and he listens to everything just on Spotify, always on his iPhone like the rest of us. So one day, I just asked him a simple question. Then why do you keep buying all these records? And he looked at me, that serious, and it went, well, because on Spotify, I can see them. Oh, and one time, he bought the same record twice, the same album, the same pressing, because the reissue had the cover in a slightly different shade. And you know what? He's not crazy. Just let's be clear. I've done my share of the same kind of nonsense more than once. And I never felt ripped off, not for a single second. Because I knew exactly what I was buying, something that's worth it to me, and that I hold on to. So last week, I promised you would go back in time today. Street teams, fan clubs, tapes passed from one hand to the other, back when it was the fans who made the whole thing run. But then I started doing a bit of research, and there's one sentence that kept coming up. A sentence the entire streaming area built on. Fans don't pay for music anymore. And careful, they didn't just make it up. There's a real chart behind it, and it's brutal. In the US, music hits its all-time high in 1999. And from there, it starts going down, and it keeps going down for almost every one of the next 15 years. 2/3 of money gone. The industry looks at the chart and puts two and two together. Fans stop paying. And from then on, that becomes the handy excuse beyond every deal I told you about last time. Because if fans don't pay anymore, the only safe bets left are old catalogs and pipes. Right? Well, no. The chart was true, but the conclusion is wrong. And today, I'm bringing you the receipts. So vinyl, Bandcamp, Patreon. Just in the US, an entire country is still buying CDs in the truckload, in the middle of the streaming area. Why? Because fans pay, and they actually pay a lot. The point is there's one thing, the only single thing, they refuse to pay for. And this thing shows exactly what's wrong with what music industry is selling you right now. So on this episode of Off Track, we are taking apart the myth of the fans who don't pay. So let's start with the most extreme case on the planet. Because K-pop fans didn't just prove the myth wrong. They ran it over several times with a track full of photoshops. Hold on. In 2024, fans bought around 93 million of physical albums in South Korea. 93 million CDs in the 2020s. And the absurd part is that one was considered a disappointing year, almost a crisis. Because 2023 had hit almost 160 million. And let me give you just an example. 17 on their own sold 16 million albums in 2020. One group in 1 year. And obviously, none of them needs a CD to hear that music. It's all streaming, same as everywhere. So what are they actually buying? Photo cards, collectible editions, and the ticket to get into fan signs, which are the meetups with the group. It's a physical object that says, I'm not just a listener, but I'm actually in part of this. The album stopped being the way to get the music to you a long time ago. It became the membership card. But behind the number, there are real people, of course. Vice interviewed a few of them. One of them is Hui Li Xian, 20 years old, BTS fan. She spent just under $750 in total. Her favorite item, a light stick that costs a little over $30. And you know why it's so special to her? Because the day of the concert, it was sold out everywhere. And she and her friends queued for more than 3 hours, taking turns just to get it. And when they ask her why she does it, she answered with the line that explained this episode better than any chart. It makes you feel more connected to the fandom. And you also feel like you have contributed to the band. Contributed, not consumed. Contributed, that's a word for a shareholder, not a subscriber. And before you file this under, yes, weird Korea, it's not just a Korea only. Luminate, which is a marketing research company, found that Gen Z K-pop fans in the US only spend an average of $25 a month on merch. You know how much they spend the average American listener? $10 a month, less than half. And you are still talking about the things that the industry keeps writing off as a passing fad. The industry, look at the K-pop and calls it an anomaly. I look at K-pop and actually I see a blueprint. Give fans something real to hold, a role, a community to be part of, and they will blow through any forecast you got on your spreadsheet. That said, I want to be honest here. Otherwise, this episode is going to turn into an ad. Not everything in there is healthy. In Korea, there are fans who buy 150, even 200 copies for the same exact album and not to collect them. It's that every copy is like a lottery ticket to meet the group. And each draw picks somewhere between 30 and 100 people. And the Korea Times told the story of an office worker who dropped the equivalent of $30,500 on it in a single year. Now, obviously, that one is not the same thing. That's something engineered to make you buy more. And it looks a lot more like a slot machine than, like a relationship with an artist. I'm saying this because obviously the lesson of this episode is not like squeeze the fan farther, but actually it's the opposite. Keep it in mind, we're coming back to it, and at the end. You're right, you'll probably say that's super fan stuff, right? Okay, let's talk about the format the industry declared dead almost 40 years ago. In 2025, vinyl in the US went past $1 billion. 1 billion of 46.8 million records sold. And that's the 19th straight year of growth. Plus, the first time it crossed $1 billion since 1983. 1983. CDs killed vinyl, downloads killed CDs, and streaming killed downloads. The oldest format of the lot quietly grew for 19 years in a row until it was out-earning CD 3s to 1. And there's where my friend with a wall full of records and nerd turntable comes back, who, by the way, isn't an isolated case. Is part of a whole category. Because these people don't buy them to listen to them. Streaming already does the better and cheaper. They buy them for the sleeves on the shelves, for the ritual of putting one on, to have the physical proof that that album meant something in their life. Remember last time? They bought the listening. Well, it turns out fans have always been paid for something Wall Street's models don't even have a box for. How it feels. Next objection. Right now you're maybe thinking, fine, fans buy stuff, but nobody pulls out their wallet just to help an art. Not when the music is right there, is always free. But hold on, because actually Bandcamp has a couple of things to say about that. Fans have paid artists and labels over $1.5 billion on Bandcamp. And there's one thing called Bandcamp Friday. On certain Fridays, Bandcamp waives its cut, and the artist keeps basically everything. Those days alone have produced 154 million since 2020. And the last one in December did 3.8 million in 24 hours. Just stop on this one for a second, because actually this is the Stranger Things in the World episode. People wait, as in, they see a record they want, they've got the money in their pocket, and they could buy it right now in 10 seconds. And instead, no, they just put the date in their calendar and they wait for Bandcamp Friday, because that's the day the artists get the most. This is insane. And look, no customer anywhere behaves like that. Nobody delays buying a pair of shoes so Nike can make a bit more the day after. This is not consumption, this is patronage. These stands are behaving like partners and doing voluntarily, making nothing out of it with no return except the satisfaction of having helped the artist. And here's come the number that out of this whole episode, I think is the one to remember. Even on a normal day, on Bandcamp, the artist keeps around 82% of what you pay, which means a $10 album leaves $8 in the pocket, straight away from one person. Just to give you a sense, to get to those same $8 on Spotify, that music has to be played about 2,000 times. So one person buying 2,000 plays, same amount. And now you'll probably tell me which of the two is supposed to be the model that doesn't work. And this is not the music queer. On Patreon, people pay creators every month for things they could often find free somewhere else. $10 billion they reach creators a few dollars at a time across 25 million memberships. Bandcamp, Patreon, vinyl, Korea. Anyone still wants to tell me that fans don't pay? Well, let's line it all up. Fans pay for CDs they will never play. For records they can even spin. They send money straight away to the artist on Friday. And they subscribe to people who are already giving them everything for free. So what's the one thing they won't put another cent into? Access, subscription, music on rent. And this is not fringe benefit. There are more than 106 million paid streaming subscriptions in the US alone. And streaming is 82% of everything that industry earns. So here's the awkward joke. You already pay every month, and access is the only thing the industry sells in return. You own nothing. You belong to nothing. And the day you stop paying it, all vanishes on you. with nothing left in your hand. And the fact that people want more is not some faint signal. It's obvious. Luminate says that about 1 in 5 listeners in the US are superfan, and that those superfans spend more than double the average on physical music. And even Goldman Sachs, an investment bank, has put it in writing that there is a market of over $4 billion sitting there that nobody's serving. Actually, I think this is way more. I think we are getting close to $30 million. We'll get there. So the money is there and the willingness is there. Proven billions of times over. Fans found what they really love every time they get something real back. Ownership, identity, community, a share. You know what's the industry big answer to all that demand? Have you considered a slightly more expensive subscription? And if you're watching this and you are an artist, here's the absurd part. It was never a money problem. We have just counted the money together. It's billions, right? It's a pie problem. Remember those $8? Same fan, same record. $8 if they buy it. 2,000 plays if they don't. Same person, same love, two completely different words. So it was never about demand. It's the plumbing. As we saw last time, plumbing is being bought up entirely. So let's update the picture. So last time we said your attachment is the asset. Wall Street puts a price on it and hands you a back here ethnography. Today, you are also the one paying. You are the most reliable money this industry has. You hold on to things together. So your love is the collateral. Your wallet founds the machine, and your seat at the table is still nothing. Still subscriber. I just want to be clear this. You watching this are not the problem. The product is the problem. Nobody has yet built the thing that fans have been showing for decades in every fandom in the world that they would happily pay for. A real share in the artist they believe in. And here's where that thing that I ask you to keep in mind comes back. 200 copies of the same record for a lottery ticket is not a share. That's a slot machine with a sleeve on it. A real share stays yours even the day you stop buying. Fans have always paid, but nobody has sold them that yet. Next episode, for real this time, we are gonna go back to where fans actually build the music community. Fan clubs, street teams, kids trading tapes after their backpacks. The original discovery engine decades before any algorithm. And the streaming brought them out of their own story. Until then, obviously waiting for your confession here in the comments. The most gloriously unnecessary thing you ever bought for an artist you love, please put it here. No shame here on this channel. That's a badge of honor for every one of you. Links and the sources, as always, in the description below.